Hey guys, and welcome to another vlog. I think this is 24, 25, who knows, I'm not counting. Hopefully you are. Basically wanted to kind of just remind everyone that I am looking for people who would like to be interviewed via a podcast. Now these will be video recorded podcasts. I'm going down the path of recording them in its highest media, so it'll be video, and then I'm going to take the audio and turn that into a podcast, but I would like to have the video version as well because I feel like I then have the ability to repurpose. So I'm really big on doing the least amount of work, but that gives the biggest impact. So I'm a little bit of a lazy entrepreneur, which is not true because if you know me, I work all the time and hard. But I want to make sure I'm doing things smart, not hard. So the interviews will be recorded, so you need to be comfortable with being filmed, and we'll do that through a Skype screen capture or in person, which will definitely be the best way of doing it. And then the audio is going to be released as the podcast audio version, and then I'll do bite-sized micro content, which I'll use to promote the podcast, and then I'll have the video version available as well. And then I'll get sections of it and transcribe it and turn it into the blog. So this is ways that you can record something in one medium and then repurpose it. And I think that's definitely something that is very powerful in today's age. So I wanted today to give you a bit of an update on what's happening. So I did the blog challenge, and while I enjoyed writing blogs, I didn't very much. So, the consistency of writing blogs daily is definitely too much of an extreme situation for me. But I did feel like my writing got better towards the end, or I had different ways of writing. So I think that, that neurological path was wired a little bit better after the 30 days. So I think that I got a lot out of that. But what it did say to me is that, and what I did find is that your blog needs content. And video content's great because it's engaging, but you still need that written content because that's what the Google search engines and content crawlers and all that basically crawl to pick up things. And some people still read, so you need to accommodate for all types of audience. Then I led into the 7-day startup challenge by Norris, and that was quite intense, quite difficult to do while working full time. And I thought at the start that I'd actually cover like a little bit of a vlog or a blog about how the day went. But I was watching some of the content at like 2:00 in the morning, so it was a little bit hard to, review how that was going. But I think Norris did an exceptional job in running the 7-day startup. He smashed all his personal goals. He's someone who's a little bit, inspirational. He runs many different businesses. He just, has the ability to kind of, relate really well to me and a lot of other entrepreneurs, because he's no expert, he just knows how to get around the right people, and he knows how to hustle, and he's got, different types of businesses working online. So someone like myself who likes to be busy and not just necessarily do the one thing, he definitely appeals. So I did the 7-day startup challenge. It was great to be a part of the movement and seeing all the comments on the private Facebook page and so forth. But for me, I didn't really achieve what I wanted to achieve. And that was purely just because working full time, a lot of the blab sessions were during the day, and then coming home and being a little bit exhausted, sitting there and actually hustling for another 8 hours while watching this content. And mind you, I was watching all the content in double speed. So, his 6 hours of blab content. His 3 hours of blab content I was kind of listening to in an hour and a half, but it still was getting late and so forth. But really good, some really good speakers. I made some great connections. The Facebook page had some really good content, sharing lots of tools and tips and tricks. And he announced the winner this week as well, and rightfully thought that the person he chose was the business idea that had, the most traction and potential, and, what a few people were able to achieve in that 7-day startup is quite impressive. So great from that. Then I led into the video blogs, and that for me has definitely been out of the comfort zone experience, but to a point now where I'm very comfortable in doing these videos. I know there's things that I need to tweak. I want to make the investment in getting a proper digital SLR camera with a wider lens, maybe look at different settings. I'm getting a little bit bored with this setting as well. I just, we'll be changing it up, but for the vlog challenge, it's definitely achieves enough. And then there's my podcast. So with the podcast, I've got the logo kind of sorted. I've got the intro recorded and voiceovered via some Fiverr gigs. So I haven't gone real expensive and all out, in building these high-end logos and, focus groups and so forth. I'm really starting lean, and who knows where this is going to go. But one thing I've noticed with podcasts is it doesn't matter what your artwork looks like and what your intro is like. It's really about the content. And that's why I'm putting the call out there, because this is the audience that's kind of built around me at the moment. And I want to make sure that when I'm doing these podcasts, it's people that you, my audience, want to actually see. I think as a business owner, and what I've learned in the past is I'm not the right person to make the decision of what the audience or the customer or client actually needs. And I think this happens all too often in businesses, is that the business is a reflection of what the business owner wants and would like, and how they would like to receive information and so forth. And that may not necessarily be the right method for who your ideal client is. And that's why in my 7 steps video on how to crush digital marketing, I talk about A as being number 1, which is audience. And I think you really need to know what your audience do, where they're hanging out, how they live, how they, where they're eating, and you really need to know who they are, so you know that through your message and through your product and through your marketing, you're always appealing to them. So that's the vlog update. That's the podcast update. So there's a lot of things kind of going on. The podcast is now going to be my main focus, getting interviews lined up. The idea would be to nut out, 5 or 6 interviews in one sitting or one day, and then build, that'll be 5 weeks worth of content. It's going to be a weekly podcast. I may review that as the content starts streaming in and the process actually starts happening. But I definitely want to commit to something that's weekly. And I definitely want to record it as a video and grab the audio and do different things with it from that sense. So watch this space, especially in the next couple of weeks. I'm committing that it will be launched in March. My actual ideal date is the 29th of February, because it has a uniqueness to it, because it will only be celebrated on that date every 4 years. And I think there's something in this leap year that's like we have an extra day, and I just want to kind of make the most of that extra day. So I am really aiming, and I'm kind of committing it to video now so I get my shit in order. But the 29th of February is the day that I'd love to launch. But given that today is, my phone's being used there, but given that today's 20 something, it's a big ask, but I might be able to do it. So let me watch this space, I guess. So yeah, that's a quick update. One thing I've realized is that vlogs are supposed to be kind of like diaries to your day and things like that. The first part of the vlog challenge, I did a little bit more of value adding, but now I kind of want to give everyone an insight into who I am and just talk a little bit more raw and natural in regards to who I am. So the next few videos leading down into the end days of my vlogs, we'll talk a little bit more about who I am, where I've come from, some of the experiences I've done, the many fuck ups I've done, business ventures that have failed, and learned shitloads from. So looking forward to sharing that journey with you, because I feel like there's a lot to be learned, and not only from me, but also hearing your stories. So guys, remember, if there's anyone that that would like to be interviewed, or you are someone who would like to be interviewed on the Razor Sharp Show, please give me a shout out. Details all below. And remember, always be razor sharp.